Oleksandr Usyk is the problem that no one can solve. He is the puzzle that no one can figure out. And I think the same will apply to Rico Verhoeven in a boxing ring with him. If this was a kickboxing match, I'm trying to tell you, Alexander's in an awful lot of trouble. Do not take a kick off him. Thankfully for Oleksandr Usyk, this is a boxing match. Oleksandr Usyk will not want to go in there and really, he never really goes in look to do damage straight away and early. I think he'll have a look at Rico Verhoeven, he'll download what he's doing. He'll figure out what the feints will do to him, which side he'll draw him on. You know, he'll hit certain parts of the body. He's going to show you feints that make you do certain things and go in certain strategies and formations of which way you'll play it. Once he's downloaded all this, he'll get rid of Rico Verhoeven.
Verhoeven is not as accomplished a boxer as Douglas or Rahman. So do these odds suggest that Usyk is seen as more beatable than Tyson or Lewis?
That's a good question. You know, it's funny, right? Even though Usyk's 39, I feel like he's at the top of his game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any slippage at all. I feel like and if you see the photos, it looks like Usyk put on a lot of muscle. I mean, this guy looks like a tank right now.
It's true.
Rico don't got a shot.
No shot.
Front, man. He ain't got no shot.
Rico Verhoeven might be walking into a nightmare, as Tony Bellew and top boxing minds warn Oleksandr Usyk is a problem he may not be ready to solve. Tony Bellew warns that Rico could be heading into deep waters, facing a highly complex challenge in Usyk, whose style may prove extremely difficult to figure out inside the ring.
He is the puzzle that no one can figure out. And I think the same will apply to Rico Verhoeven in a boxing ring with him. If this was a kickboxing match, I'm trying to tell you, Alexander's in an awful lot of trouble. Do not take a kick off him. Thankfully for Oleksandr Usyk, this is a boxing match. And I think once them first 3 or 4 rounds pass, and that awkwardness and stance and style Oleksandr Usyk figures out, I think Rico could be in for a hard night's work.
I mean, someone saying it could change boxing forever if he wins, Rico. How does Rico go about trying to solve that puzzle of Usyk?
It'd be the greatest shock boxing's ever seen. If Rico Verhoeven is to defeat Oleksandr Usyk, it will be the greatest victory in boxing history.
Building on that, Bellew says Usyk is still underrated, noting from experience that he dismantles opponents at their own game, and warns Rico could face the same fate in a matchup favoring Usyk.
He bullies the bully. He beats everybody at their own game, and the most impressive thing about it is, guess what? He comes to your patch as well. He's the only fighter in the history of the sport that goes to other people's backyards and beats everybody up on their own patch. Unfortunately, he done it to me as well. And nothing annoys me more than when I see fighters don't give him the credit he deserves. Because not only is he such an amazing fighter, he's a wonderful human being. He's a really nice guy. And I could only imagine what he's been through in his personal life and what's gone on in this country. It's been very hard. This guy's never had it easy. He's had it hard all the way through. You know, European champion, Olympic gold medalist, world amateur champion. He's completed boxing. And people will say, why is he fighting Rico Verhoeven? Why not? He's in a position where he can dictate, and he's in that position of power now.
Drawing from his own fight with Usyk, Tony warns that Rico's aggression will not faze him, as Usyk's unbeaten record, control, and ring IQ make him a serious threat.
So for Rico Verhoeven, he has lost, but it's been in the kickboxing world. Oleksandr Usyk is still undefeated. He believes nobody can beat him. Nobody has defeated him in the professional boxing ring. He's undefeated, and he enters that ring with a kind of steely look and a demeanour of, you cannot beat me. You even look at him in the face-offs. He refuses to move. I promise you, every single face-off he has, he does not move. He will stand there for 20 minutes. Believe you me, I tested it. I stood there for how long when I faced him, and I just thought, this is ridiculous. It's going nowhere. In the end, he put a piece of paper between us, but I turned away. And I just think for Rico Verhoeven, he's never in his whole life come across somebody like Oleksandr Usyk.
Furthermore, Tony Bellew predicts Usyk would take the early rounds to read Rico, gradually gaining control before stepping on the gas and delivering heavy damage once he fully figures him out.
I think this fight will be very exciting for the 6, 7, maybe 8 rounds it goes. I think Oleksandr Usyk will not want to go in there and really, he never really goes in look to do damage straight away and early. I think he'll have a look at Rico Verhoeven, he'll download what he's doing. He'll figure out what the feints will do to him, which side he'll draw him on. You know, he'll hit certain parts of the body. He's going to show you feints that make you do certain things and go in certain strategies and formations of which way you'll play it. Once he's downloaded all this, he'll get rid of Rico Verhoeven. He'll just have too much. And that's the way it will go. He does the same to everybody else. I told Josh, I told anybody who'd listen, he's going to download what you're doing, and then he's going to use it against you.
Drawing from experience, Tony praises Usyk's relentless pressure and ring IQ, citing the Tyson Fury fight as proof he can outwork and break even dominant heavyweights using their own style.
With Oleksandr Usyk, I can't explain the tiredness because he's constantly putting that pressure. Look at the Tyson Fury fight. That tells you all you need to know. A guy who's 6'9", he's 20 stone, and he's being bullied. He's being pushed back by what he called, and I'm only using his word, a middleweight. It's unfathomable that he was able to push a 20 stone man back, and he's only my size. He's 15 stone, he's 6'3", and he bullied the heavyweight champion of the world who nobody gave him a chance against. And you know why he does that? Because of this.
As fight night approaches, experts are giving him almost no chance, with Max Kellerman saying that if Verhoeven even makes it competitive, it should already be seen as a victory for him.
So this is only his second pro fight, and he's doing a bunch of punching from weird angles. So it could be a little embarrassing because it's not the same, it's not the basic boxing style. Yeah, so you could probably get hit with weird shots that are coming from all crazy angles, him stepping off. So it could probably present complications for Usyk.
It's like the Ricardo Mayorga effect.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this thing? So if that happens, right, and he gets hit with different angles, now the experienced boxer, the real champion, is gonna whoop his
once Usyk
ass.
get in his bag.
Once you hit me and I get a little embarrassed, all right, let me show you why it's different. I don't see this fight as even being competitive, to be honest. Because like Tyson,
it would be it would be a big win for Verhoeven if it is competitive.
Debating with the panel, Max argues that while odds lean toward Rico, history shows boxing is full of surprises once the bell rings. Kellerman points to shocking upsets like Buster Douglas defeating Mike Tyson and even Lennox Lewis suffering a knockout earlier in his career as reminders that nothing is guaranteed. He stresses that underestimating a fighter in a new matchup can be dangerous, insisting that once action starts, unpredictability always leaves room for an unexpected outcome in the ring.
Andy Ruiz was 14-1 when he stopped Anthony Joshua. Corey Sanders was 10-1 against Vladimir Klitschko. But in each of these cases, the guy pulling the upset was an experienced world-class boxer. So guys, the odds makers have Verhoeven somewhere between Buster Douglas and Hasim Rahman in terms of the odds against. And a big factor in those odds were who they were up against. Not like Buster Douglas was fighting anyone. He's fighting a prime Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
You know, Hasim Rahman is fighting a prime Lennox Lewis. Verhoeven is not as accomplished a boxer as Douglas or Rahman. So do these odds suggest that Usyk is seen as more beatable than Tyson or Lewis?
At the same time, Max Kellerman argues that the odds makers are underestimating Usyk, pointing out that even legends like Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis have suffered shocking knockout defeats in their careers. Kellerman highlights that unlike them, Usyk remains undefeated and that perfect record fuels a different kind of motivation. Max believes it pushes him to prepare like someone who refuses to accept defeat under any circumstances, making him even more dangerous going into any fight.
Usyk's nearly 40, he's never captured the imagination of the public, he doesn't look invincible, and yet if you said who would win, Usyk at his best or Tyson at his best, Tyson ain't beating Usyk.
I don't think so.
I don't even think Tyson would think he's beating.
So.
And Lennox had already been knocked out by Oliver McCall. So Lennox was known as not being chinny, but a guy who you could knock out. And Mike Tyson, in retrospect, was more like Usyk's bag is so deep. He's got the heart. He's got the chin. I don't think Usyk is a guy that you're just gonna he's susceptible to a knockout. In a certain way, I think the odds are disrespectful to Usyk, because in certain ways, he's less vulnerable than Lennox or Mike were.
Stepping into the conversation, Gabriel Rosado and Mike Coppinger suggest Rico's unpredictable angles and diverse offense could create real problems for Usyk. However, Shady strongly disagrees, insisting Usyk would control every moment and completely outclass Rico inside the ring. Shady believes the skill gap would be too wide, arguing that Usyk's precision, timing, and ring IQ would turn the matchup into a one-sided display, leaving Rico unable to adjust once the pressure builds.
He does it for glory, and he says Verhoeven's like a legend, so he's also 270 pounds, 6'6". It would not surprise me if he was a lot more capable than we expect.
Also, too, when you're a guy that's so accomplished like Usyk, and then you're fighting a guy that is only his second pro fight, and he's doing a bunch of punching from weird angles. So it could be a little embarrassing because it's not the same, it's not the basic
What you're used to
boxing
seeing.
style. Yeah, so you could probably get hit with weird shots that are coming from all crazy angles, him stepping off. So it could probably present complications for Usyk.
It's like the Ricardo Mayorga effect.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this thing? So if that happens, right, and he gets hit with different angles, now the experienced boxer, the real champion, is gonna whoop his
once Usyk
ass.
get in his bag.
Once you hit me and I get a little embarrassed, all right, let me show you why it's different.
On the other hand, once a kickboxer himself, Chris Algieri notes Rico's size advantage and awkward kickboxing style could trouble Usyk. He said, in terms of where Rico could have potentially have an edge in this fight, one is going to be size. He's big. He's a true super heavyweight, obviously going to have size advantage on Oleksandr Usyk, who we all know is not biggest heavyweight in the current modern era. 2, it's going to be a little bit of being awkward, you know, coming from a different style. Having kickboxing experience, Chris highlights how a kickboxer can bring unpredictable angles and movements that a traditional boxer may struggle to read or anticipate inside the ring. He said, often kickboxers have much different footwork, different hand position. Punches may come from strange angles, and hoping to catch Usyk with something that he doesn't see. But once again, I mean, Oleksandr Usyk has seen it all. You know, we're talking gold medalist, we're talking cruiserweight, unified champion, talking heavyweight champion. He's beaten every style known to man. Echoing Tony's view, Chris highlights that Usyk should not be underestimated as he studies his opponents closely and figures them out before unleashing his most effective punches. He said, and it was just a matter of time before he looks to figure out some of the weird idiosyncrasies that Rico will bring to the table. But at the end of the day, it's heavyweight boxing. It only takes one shot. And even though Rico's not known as a puncher, he's not a big knockout gal, even in kickboxing, he's still a big man. He still knows how to punch. And I guess again, it's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. Stepping into conversation, Francis Ngannou suggests that even though Rico Verhoeven comes from kickboxing, the shift into boxing places him at a clear disadvantage. He adds that kickboxers are rarely suited to the sustained pace and endurance required in longer boxing bouts across many rounds. Ngannou, who once dropped Tyson Fury, still favors Oleksandr Usyk to prevail either by stoppage or on points, pointing to stamina and ring experience under pressure throughout championship-level exchanges in boxing at elite heavyweight level.
I think Usyk will win. I would say maybe not a TKO, but a decision. But also, how round is it? Is it the fight? 10 or 12?
I think maybe 10. I would imagine 10 rounds. But
yeah, but
yeah.
Can Rico really go like against Usyk 10 rounds? I mean, he's a kickboxing guy. He's not like so maybe TKO or decision.
Francis Ngannou believes there is still a slight chance for Rico Verhoeven, referencing his own performance against Tyson Fury, where he remained competitive and lasted into the later rounds. However, Kamaru Usman provides a deeper analysis, arguing that simply surviving long in boxing would already be difficult for Rico. He notes that kickboxing does not develop the same layered combination work as boxing, and over 12 rounds, that technical gap could become decisive against Oleksandr Usyk ultimately.
As kickboxers, the combinations are limited in a way to where we know the kickboxing combination: jab, low kick, 1, 2, 3 body kick or low kick, and 2, 3 low kick, high. Like, these are the combination. These are the length of the combination. And I think a big part of it is with boxers that are able to go 2, 3, 4, 5 punch combinations and then slip out but still stay in range to counter what you throw at them. I think this is what becomes problematic with kickboxers going into boxing.
Explaining why the matchup may trouble Rico, Kamaru Usman suggests that even a tight defensive shell can be dismantled by elite boxing craft. He points to fighters like Oleksandr Usyk and Vasyl Lomachenko for their rhythm control, ability to find openings, and precision timing. Usman further notes that after the 6th round, differences between kickboxing and heavyweight boxing become more obvious, often when Rico begins to fade and struggle with sustained pace over long championship rounds against elite opposition.
He has a really good guard and he's able to walk forward. But the problem with that is boxers can dissect that. Boxers are going to go to your body. They're going to come around to the top. And these Ukrainian boxers, Usyk, Lomachenko, these guys know how to find the angles and know how to put combinations on you. And that's why I think it could be problematic. After round 6, I think it's going to become problematic for someone like Rico.
I agree. I completely agree with you. We know that it's going to be problematic.
Highlighting Rico's mistakes, Max Kellerman warns that Rico Verhoeven relying on kickboxing habits and basic combinations would not trouble Oleksandr Usyk. He argues that against a master-level boxer like Usyk, those patterns become predictable and easy to anticipate. Kellerman believes Usyk's timing, defensive awareness, and ring control would quickly neutralize that approach. Because of this, he stresses that Rico would need a full adjustment to boxing fundamentals if he wants any realistic chance of competing at elite heavyweight level in this matchup overall.
We know that Usyk is going to win as long as everything goes according to plan.
Right.
But I give Rico this. Kickboxing is not UFC or wrestling. He's not doing different stances. It's not like he's an expert at wrestling. He's an expert at stand-up fighting.
Yeah, but when I say 52 hand blocks, I say that for a reason. He uses a kind of hand blocking style which will work, but not against a highly trained professional boxer.
Hey, Zab Judah used it to pretty good effect in a lot of fights.
By the way, I've never seen Yoel do it, but I'll bet you Yoel got 52 hand blocks.
Zab's
Yeah.
for real.
But like he's gonna need he needs 104 hand blocks against Usyk.
Adding more fuel to the fire, Hamza Shiraz brushed off Rico Verhoeven's claims, calling them exaggerated talk with no real grounding in boxing reality. He suggested that the kickboxer would struggle badly once real heavyweight shots start landing, predicting he may not even be able to last the full fight distance. Shiraz believes the moment clean power connects, the difference in boxing experience will show immediately, leaving Verhoeven overwhelmed and unable to handle sustained pressure in the ring.
Listen, I think he's going to get absolutely ironed out. That's the truth. I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you're fighting Oleksandr Usyk. You know what I mean? Someone who's beat Joshua, beat Fury, not only once, but twice. And it's too much of an ask, you know what I mean? He has got a puncher's chance, we all have, but whether that chance will actually come to fruition, I don't really think it will.
Adding to this, Tony Bellew delivered a stark warning for Rico Verhoeven. He explained that the kickboxing champion would be stepping into a style completely unfamiliar to anything he has faced before. Bellew believes Usyk would begin breaking him down within the opening rounds, doing so with minimal effort. In his view, Usyk's fight IQ and precision cannot be replicated in training camps. Rico may bring danger, but he is entering a fight that quickly turns into a one-sided technical lesson.
He's been doing easy touch, hasn't he, for a while.
Well, he fought you.
I don't want to say he's an easy touch. I think it'll be really interesting for about 6 or 7 minutes. I think 1 or 2 rounds. And then I think once he figures him out, because he's going to be an absolute nightmare to prepare for. He's going to be throwing punches from all kinds of mad angles. He's going to be doing things that he should never be doing. He'll be really awkward, really crazy for the first few rounds. And then I think he'll figure him out and then he'll punish him.
Have you seen that, Verhoeven?
Yes.
Tony, we're talking a bit before as well that he's sparred with the Furies, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He's been in the camp with the Furies for many years. He spars many rounds with Hughie Fury. He sparred hundreds of rounds with dozens of rounds with Tyson Fury.
Rico Verhoeven has sparred Tyson Fury and now trains under Peter Fury, something Tony Bellew admits could add intrigue. But he maintains a harsh warning. Oleksandr Usyk may allow him to stay competitive for 2 or 3 rounds. Then comes the shift. By rounds 5 to 7, the kickboxing champion will have no clue what is hitting him or how to answer. The puzzle changes completely, leaving Rico guessing against a true master, according to Bellew's assessment of elite boxing levels.
He's been around a long time. He's been around Peter Fury a long time, so that gives me a little bit of confidence in him as well, because Peter wouldn't take on a mess. Peter wouldn't embarrass himself with taking on a clown. So it lets you know that he can definitely fight. But I just think Usyk's so clever and so wise. 2-3 rounds maximum, he'll have figured them out. He'll have got the timing down to a T. And I think by round 5, 6, he'll be teeing off on him. And he won't know where they're coming from. So he's an amazing kickboxer. He's one of the best. You know what I mean? Listen, I think Ernie Usyk is the best kickboxer ever, but that's up for debate. But he's a strong guy. He's got very, very good hands for a kickboxer. But listen, you're coming into our discipline, and no one is ever going to come into our discipline and beat us at it. It's like we can't go into their discipline. If this was a kickboxing match, he'd kick Oleksandr Usyk's legs off in about 2 rounds.
And if there's one thing this debate makes clear, it's that experience at the elite boxing level changes everything once the early rounds fade. Power, reputation, and past success only carry so far when the rhythm of the fight shifts and adjustments become the real weapon. Now it's your turn. Do you see this staying competitive or turning into a masterclass? Drop your take in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more fight breakdowns like this.